After watching season 1 of Squid Game, a lot of people have a fair amount of questions about what they just saw, so I wanted to make some videos answering the most important questions about Squid Game. And with that said, let's get into it. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Is South Korea the only place where these games are hosted? We know that the Squid Games we've been watching have been going on for decades. Hwang Jin-ho searched the records for his brother, which revealed book after book of previous participants, and each record appeared to be from South Korea. However, during season 1, episode 7, VIPs, the third VIP makes a quick comment claiming that the contest in Korea was the best. This comment is most likely implying that the contest in South Korea is one of many happening around the world, making number one's company an international business. These other competitions would be owned by number one, but each country's games would be independently run by someone like the frontman. Before this episode, the VIPs were watching the games on their television screens, so it would make it really easy for them to purchase and watch other games happening in the US or Russia or somewhere else. If this international Squid Games theory is correct, it would explain why number one had chosen these games specifically to be his last contest, as some of the sets were modeled after his childhood. Was player one safe during the games? We know that number one was definitely safe during the marble game, and he would definitely be safe from the sugar honeycomb game as well. However, there was no indication that he was safe during the red light green light game, but after the tug of war game, you can see that he has no locks on the handcuffs connecting his wrists to the rope. The locks should look something like this, and here they aren't. And in the fight night that happened in the episode Stick to the Team, he disappeared for most of the brawl, but at the end he appeared on a safe elevated bed above everyone else. In fact, his cries to make everything stop is what cued the frontman to turn on the lights and send the troops in. Quick side note, my favorite detail hinting at number one being the host of the games was how in episode 7 VIPs, you can see his white hair in this shot of him from behind, and you can also see his old man hands when he sets down the owl mask on the table. I also love how in episode 8 Frontman, when all the bed frames are removed from the main room, you can see that every game the participants were going to play was painted on the walls. Everyone was dying to know what the next game was going to be, but the answer was literally written on the walls the entire time. How much is the prize money when converted to US currency? Every time a participant dies, 100 million is added to the prize money. With 456 participants, the total prize money is 45.6 billion won, which is equivalent to around $38 million in the US. What is Squid Game really about? In an interview with Variety, Squid Game's director Hong Dong-yao claims, "I wanted to write a story that was an allegory or fable about modern capitalist society, something that depicts an extreme competition, somewhat like the extreme competition of life." Who are the guards? When player 119 grabs a gun and tells one of the guards to take off his mask, we just see a young looking man who kind of looks like a kid, but then later on we see a bunch of other guards who look older and are trying to smuggle organs out of the facility. So the guards definitely vary in age, but so far appear to be only male. This job would attract criminals, like the thugs who tracked down Sung Gi-hun in the first episode, as these thugs were also trying to sell other people's organs. I don't think the guards go through some harsh conditioning or anything, as they were pretty patient with Hwang Jin-ho when he was undercover. There's also zero trust between the frontman and the guards, as there is a camera in each room belonging to a guard. The guards were also compared to soldiers in the real world at one point, as one of the guards says to player 111, "It's a huge problem when a player goes missing, but when it's a soldier, no one cares about that. A player, as in a civilian, and a soldier, as in a soldier, presenting us with some social commentary about sending troops to die in for-profit wars, and no one caring." So why the red hair? When Sung Gi-hun is playing the game with the salesman in the subway, he is given the choice between red or blue. This is a reference to the movie The Matrix. In The Matrix, Morpheus offers Neo a choice between a red pill or a blue pill. If you take the blue pill, you'll remain ignorant and continue living in your prison. If you take the red pill, you learn the unpleasant truths of reality and see the world for what it really is. Sung Gi-hun, who's wearing a blue hat, chooses blue. When we get to the island and we see everyone else playing the same game, almost everyone is using the blue square. square. This symbolism is further brought home as the song The Blue Danube by Johann Strauss plays as the characters walk throughout the facility. This song was famously used in 2001: A Space Odyssey, a film that shows a bleak outlook on the future of humanity. In 2001's case, Kubrick had this song play over the characters traveling through space, as technology and automation caused the humans to become more pathetic, as they let technology take control of their lives. In Squid Game, the song is used before each game, indicating that these characters are asleep and are enslaved by this capitalist system. Sung-gi-hun remains ignorant until a year after he completes the game. He learns the truth from Number One, that Number One created the game out of boredom. Sung-gi-hun dyes his hair red as he chooses the path of enlightenment, deterring anyone from entering the game, and instead of going back to the US to see his daughter, he chooses the path of what appears to be taking down the organization. Is Wang Jin-ho dead? Possibly. Wang Jin-ho and his brother exchanged bullets on opposite shoulders. If the frontman can survive a bullet to the shoulder, it's more than reasonable to assume that Wang Jin-ho could survive it as well. That's also assuming that the drop off the cliff is also survivable. Plus, we just see Jin-ho fall into the water, and if we're going by the show's logic, if we don't see a character die on screen, there's a good chance they're probably still alive. Except for Ali. He is definitely dead. His off-screen death was to simply put you in Song-woo's perspective of hearing the announcer say that 199 was eliminated. Anyway, it's constantly shown to us throughout the series that any dead bodies are incinerated. So it would completely go against the logic of the establishment and the logic of the show to have the frontman just leave Jin-ho's body out in the ocean. So Jin-ho's body was most likely recovered from the ocean and then brought into one of the furnaces. The only thing that would explain Jin-ho still being alive would be that the frontman couldn't finish the job. We already saw that he was getting pretty emotional during this confrontation on the cliff, as his hand was trembling when he was holding the gun. It could be possible that the frontman is keeping Jin-ho alive at the facility. The Squid Games are merciless. Any rule breakers die. Anyone who reveals their identity dies. Basically a lot of strict rules with harsh consequences. The frontman who oversees all the operations at the facility has to enforce these rules with no hesitation. But it looks like he's struggling with the life he has chosen, especially when he is given a reminder of his past. It could be possible that the mirror scene where he sees a projection of his brother is not about his brother's death haunting him, but about the frontman looking at the antithesis of what he's become. If you have more questions about Squid Game and want to hear my explanations for them, please comment your questions down below, and I may talk about them in my next questions answered video for Squid Game. And just so you know, I read every comment on my videos. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video about Squid Game.